All right. So Python. Demo one itself, bitwise operators. Shall we skip bitwise operators because this is actually the last free session. If you want to continue, you need to enroll. So you want to discuss bitwise operators or lists? Actually, we started list yesterday. You want me to continue list? Your wish. What do you say? I need your feedback.
List, I think.
Sorry? List. Okay.
Yeah.
Bitwise operators, anyway, we are not going to use that much. And deep learning theory part, we will discuss bitwise operators. Again, it's going to come again. I mean, when we start deep learning, I'm going to explain that again. Next one is yesterday we have seen how to insert and how to append the data. Is both are for insertion of data, but append is going to append at the end of it, and we need to provide the value. Whereas for insert, we need to provide the both index and the value. So it's going to sit at whatever the desired index that you want to put in. So the next one is removing values from a list. Let me take a list. This is I need to import first of all. Okay, this is basically anyway, it's a core Python, right? So we not to import anything. So it's remove, right? So let me create a list one, and you want to remove a particular value. Font size is okay, right?
Yes.
Let me check the documentation. Shift tab. It's value. So if you provide value, let's say that I want to remove the value 3. It should work. Yeah, it has removed 3, isn't it? We're not going to see any 3 here. And what else? Remove method. Okay, what if there is another method to remove the values? Pop. Let's check the documentation. It's by default index -1. Index -1 means when we execute this, it is always going to, not always, but it's going by default. It's going to the default behavior is going to be like it's going to remove the last value. You can see that it returns 5, and here if you look at it, you're not going to see 5 anymore. But there is a way that we can mention. Let me reset this back again. Then we can provide other index values. For example, let's take that I want to remove this one. So what is the index for 2? It is 0, 1, right? So let me provide 1. Okay. It's not accepting. All right, so it has removed 2. Interestingly, it's not accepting the parameter. So my list, you can see that it has removed 2. So we can provide other index values also if you want to remove the value. But the default behavior is always going to remove the last value. Remove, we can specifically mention the value. So remove is basically when you know the value, you can use remove. But if you know the index and you want to remove based on index, use pop. Usually we remove based on pop because when there is a possibility of having dynamic insertions, we don't know what value we want to relate, right? Again, depends on the
Uh,
requirement. Yeah.
Sir, actually, suppose in the list we have a duplicate. So if we want to remove the 3,
Right.
so which duplicate it will be removed?
It should be first occurrence of it. Let me show you that. For example, 3. Let's take instead of 3 here. Let me write down 3 here. Okay. So if I remove it, you can see that still you can see 435. 435, right? It has
Yes,
removed this first occurrence of it.
perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in such case, use pop. You can mention the index, right? In such case.
Yes.
But again, it's difficult. So if you go by the value and again the last one, then you can, what you can do is you can inverse it, reverse it. My list, suppose my list reverse. Okay, I think the problem here is, of course, it got reverse, but it has, it's going to persist. I mean to say, it's going to change the actual list. Better, what I can do is colon -1, and then from here I can remove it. Okay, so let's take a remove 3, but I need to assign this back again. Sorry. What happened? Oh, um, okay. It is not returning anything. That is another problem together. Okay, so it got removed. Okay. The problem here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Remove. C is difficult because it's not applying on this one. I'll do one thing. So change the list. I'm going to apply on this one, right? That's the list. And it got changed to what? 534231. So it's going to be this occurrence, right? I'm going to remove it. Let's see this one. You can see that 3 got removed between 5 and 4. Now we can apply this back again, right? If you check it, you're not going to see 3 between 4 and 5. But again,
Yes.
it's difficult when we have too many. So we need to write a customized logic for it.
Yes.
It's not straightforward. Yeah. Fine. The next one is what? Okay. The difference between pop and remove. Let me. What is the list right now? 55, right? Yeah. Suppose if I try to remove a non-existing value, let's say 55, I don't have 55 in this. I can easily cross-check it. But in some cases, it is difficult to predict. Like, when we have too many values, when we don't know what the list contains, when we write a whole logic, then it's difficult to say what value it contains. So it throws error. It says that X is not in the list. X is here in the sense it's a value. 55 does not, and it's not in this list. What about pop? I think that is, what if I provide, let's say 25, which is not there. Pop index out of, where do we get this one? Yeah, remove throws error, even pop throws error. There is a method wherein, I think this is not the one. Yeah, remove method basically throws error. Um, yes, I don't know why I have mentioned this remove method throws error. So remove method obviously throws error if it doesn't exist. I think in pandas somewhere within NumPy, I have two methods wherein one throws error, another one does not throw error. So I will show you that later. But unnecessarily I have mentioned this one as throw error. But anyway, pop and remove both throws error. A reverse method, yeah, reverse method will reverse the whole list. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it will not to assign this back to my list. So we not to do this. And not to do this. Okay. Because by default, it's going to affect the data frame. So reverse is going to reverse the values. And it's not going to do any sorting. I mean, it's ascending or descending. Whatever the values that you put, let's take that we have a list here. I'm going to take this one as it is. This is not sorted, right? And it's going to reverse it bluntly without any sorting. So for sorting, again, you need to apply a different method altogether. Okay. Any questions on that? um, yeah, min-max methods. We can, let's say that out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, what is the minimum value? It's 1, isn't it? So it should give 1. Same way we have my list. Max value is 5, so we get 5. And summation is 18 because 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, 10, 10 plus 3, 13, 13 plus 5, 18. And of course, I think we should have something called main to. I think we have it in NumPy, I'm sure. We got main. We have it main. I don't know. Do we have any straightforward function or not on Python? But NumPy, I have not started it, so we'll discuss this in detail later. Okay, so ignore this code at least for now. Okay, so next some methods and string boolean mixes. There is no such thing as string list, boolean list, mixer list, but it is for our own reference. For example, let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you type it is still list, right? If we have, let's take, I have 1, 2, 3. We usually refer this sort of list as string list, but if we just type, it is still a list. So there is no such thing as string list, boolean list, whatever, a numerical list. It is list. List can accept any kind of data type. It can be another list or tuple, or it could be any data structure. That is how list has been framed. If you so, so show false, false, show. If I type it is again list. So you're not going to have anything such as Boolean list, but this sort of list only a list that contains only Boolean values, or this list contains only list of strings, or this one contains only integers. So we usually refer this one as integer list, but it is a thing as integer list. It is just list. This has string list. This has Boolean list. I hope you got the point. Mixed list means when we say mixed list, it could be any data type. Like this mix of integers, strings, booleans, and all sorts of data, even strings, right? It is
Or
similar.
can we put list inside other list reference?
You have it, right? Reference.
Like my list 1, can we put in the list 2?
Yes, we can do that. We can
Okay.
write it. Yeah, we can do that. Oops, I have not given comma. Yes, we can do that. You got it right. This one is this one.
Yes. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, the next one is join the elements in a list. Let me apply join. For example, I'm going to take this one itself, right? So I want to apply joins. With basic syntax of join is going to be like this: separator dot join and then list, whatever the list name. Okay. Here I'm going to take this name. So I'm going to take separator. It need to be wrapped in single quotes. I'm going to take comma dot join my list one. You can see that you can combine, multiple strings. Can we combine, let's take 5? Can we apply it on it? So we're just going through error. So join is basically only for strings, not mixer list or any other, even in numbers, integers or floats or whatever. So we can apply join only in the first string list. So in such case, string list, the name string list will help you to understand better, right? But do we have anything such as string list? String list? No. It is for our own reference. When I say string list, a list of strings, that's all. So no other data type. Any questions on that? Join?
Yeah, in the join, we can separate that string through
Yeah.
any like.
Yeah. So we have given comma, right? So because we have given comma over here. If we give
But
space,
okay.
we give space. There could be any separator.
So my question is like list already having that comma.
We do have comma. So it's separated by comma, but it's not actually a string, isn't it? Actually this one
Okay.
string.
Yes. One string
That is how is going to display. It
separate.
doesn't mean it is comma separated.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, the next one is removing element from a mixed data place. So it's not going to be different from the way that we have seen before. That's true. I think it's mixed database. Suppose if you want to remove this particular thing, obviously either you can go with positive index 0, 1, 2 kind of, or else it is better to go in reverse order. That is -1, -2, right? This whole thing is -2. So I'm going to remove rather than going remove because we need to provide the whole value. So I go with pop. So I want to provide -2, -2 now. Because you're not going to see that list. So this whole thing, we have inserted list inside list. So and in bird's eye view, this is actually an element. But again, we can dig deeper into this, right?
So -2 means third element will be.
Not -2 is not third element. Reverse order, if you mention minus, it is
Oh,
second element.
okay.
It starts
Yes.
with -1.
It's -1,
But if it is
2,
positive,
3.
it starts with 0.
Yeah. Means -2 means last third element.
Last but one. Not third element, last but one.
Actually, I'm not getting last.
-1 means last value. -2
Last
means
value.
last but one. Got it? -1 means last value. -2
Yes.
means last but one.
Second last. Yeah.
Last but one.
Yes. Got it.
Okay. Okay, removing values from mixes. Fetching a value from mixed list, I think it's the same process. Let's take that I want to insert another list. So 3. Okay. For insert, we need to provide index. Let's take 4. Plus 2. Here we have one. Let's say that you want to fetch 2, right? So what is the index for this? This whole, first of all, we need to fetch this list and then we need to fetch this value. So as per this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this my list 2, 4 will fetch the list. And then again we need to provide another one. So it's 2 actually. It's 2 in the sense 0, 1. So 1. That will fetch the value. So that is how you can nest it to get the appropriate value. If it is a nested list. Or if you want, let's say that you want to fetch 2.5, it is last but one. So -2. Or if you want to go with positive index, it's going to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 you can mention it. Get the same value. Right? Reversing the elements of mixed data list. So it's the same process. So there's no difference. We have seen how to fetch all the values using this method. And we have a step option two. If you mention -1, is going to reverse the whole thing, right? Or else we already seen reverse. That will change the whole data frame without even assignment. Sorry, it's two, right? list 2. Yeah, it will reverse it. But in this case, we need to assign this back to list 2. Only then it will change, reverse it. But in this case, you don't require to assign this back. You can remove that part. But always make sure that you, when you use reverse, it's going to change the list. Whereas this is much better method, because only when you are satisfied with the output, we can see the output, and then you can assign back, or else you can leave it. It's not going to change the real list, right? Joining mixed data place is not possible. I already explained this concept. We can join the list of strings, whereas we can't join if it is any other data other than strings. And nested list, okay. So add, okay, if you want, let's say that you want to check the data type of this. What is the index for this? It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Sorry, I think this I changed the, okay, 4. And if you want to check, if you check this data type, it is going to be list. Let's take that you want to fetch this value, and index is going to be 5. If you check the data type of it, is going to be both. So if you check a specific value, based on the value, the kind of values that we get, sometimes there's built-in data structure, or sometimes it could be normal Boolean string or integer. So you're going to get the appropriate data type. Another thing, if you have two lists, let's take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? My list 2, let's take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. If you add this, unlike other programming languages, if you add this, is going to concatenate. Concatenate is going to place one next to another. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we got it from this my list 1. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we got it from this list. If you would really want to add these values, let's take 1 plus 6, 2 plus 7, 3 plus 8, and so on and so forth. You can add it, you can add the corresponding index values, but we need to use list comprehension. Let me explain this component. Suppose if I want to add a corresponding index value, let's take, I want to get output like 1 plus 6, 2 plus 7, right? Kind of. Then you can use list comprehension. List comprehension will be wrapped in round brackets. Okay. You need to write the logic in round brackets. You need to write the logic here. Logic is going to be for loop. For I comma j in zip my list 1, my list 2. When we zip this, these two lists, my list 1, my list 2, will be packed together. And then when we loop this for, using for with in, right? In the sense it's going to check in. And as these two lists are packed, so each loop is going to spit out two values from each of these lists. So I is going to be in the first loop, I is going to be 1, j is going to be 6. And second loop, I is going to be 2, j is going to be 7. I is going to be 3, and j is going to be 8 in third loop, and so on and so forth. So in this case, if you want to add these values, you can mention I plus j. You can see 1 plus 6, 7, 2 plus 7, 9, 3 plus 8, 11, 4 plus 10, 13, and 5 plus 10, 15. You may feel, some of you may feel like it's too difficult to understand this, but it's not as difficult as you think, but it's going to be repetitive. So don't worry if you don't understand it. Try to practice as much as you can. We are going to repeat this, we're going to repeat this concept, list comprehension, 100 times at least.
So zip method is like, what does it like?
It's going to pack these two lists, or else it is difficult to loop it. It's going to pack these two lists into one. So that when we loop this, it's going to split each value from each subpack, sublist, right?
Yes.
Okay, any questions? That's it on list. We will move on to dictionary. Okay. Shall we move on to the next topic? That is dictionary. Or any questions you have? All right, the next one is dictionary. Dictionary is like key value pair kind of. Let me create dictionary. So my dictionary. So usually it's going to be wrapped in curly brackets. It's going to be like this: key value combination. Okay, the syntax is going to be like this. Let me create a dictionary. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. Need to be separated with colon. Okay, sorry. Need to separate with each key value combination. Need to separate with comma. Each key value combination need to be separate with colon. So my dictionary. If you want to fetch a particular value, this is not based on index. We should not provide the index. Suppose if I provide let's take 0. Sorry, it's my dictionary, right? Yeah. 0. It is going to fetch the value, but this is not based on the index. Let me show you that. For example, let's take Z. Okay, I've given a different key altogether. If I exclude this, it's going to throw a key error. It is going to literally take the key, whatever the key that you provide. It can be a string, or it could be number, it could be it can be a decimal value, it could be anything. For example, let's take 22.5, right? This 2.5 is the key. So if you try to exclude 0 or something else, it's not going to work. 2.5 you need to provide to fetch the corresponding value. So this is the key to get this value. There is no internal order for it. There is no internal index for it. Like in the case of list. List, the index starts from 0 to n, right? N minus 1. So, but dictionary does not follow that pattern. But that particular pattern, it's going to be key value combinations. Any questions on how to create a dictionary? How to fetch the value?
Means actually, if we are talking about the difference between list and dictionary, so
Hmm.
that is the difference. Like
Yeah.
dictionary always follow that key and value,
Right.
just like a map, and list is follow like combination of all type of data type.
Right. So we can insert any kind of data, but it will have an internal order, but we cannot fetch a particular value based on a key. We need to provide the index,
Okay, yeah.
especially when we have data in the form of JSON. Then it's going to be dictionary. So it's JSON, and when its dictionary is very much similar to JSON. And
So like that is the like there is different scenario where we have used dictionary and list to fetching that data or all these things.
right.
So in case means in which case we have used situation dictionary or list.
See, the key when we have key value combination, usually it's going to be like JSON. So when we have a JSON kind of data, dictionary kind of data, we can, if you know the key, it's going to be very fast. Or else if it is a list, it has to search the whole list. It's going to, especially searching operations, it's going to be a lot slower in list. Whereas dictionary is a lot faster because it's going to jump to that particular key straight away.
And key should be unique, correct?
It need to be unique.
Yeah.
Suppose if I give something like this, let's say 3, 4, it still works, but it need to be unique. For example, you have here, you can see that it has picked the last one. It has completely skipped this one. You can see that you're not going to see anything. It's not going to throw any error as such. Right? Completely ignored it. Right? It need to be unique. Suppose, okay, the next one
Yeah, it
is,
is overriding. Like,
yeah, overwriting. Suppose if I want to override this value 1 with capital ONE, and what is the key for it? 1, right? So we can fetch 1. We can override, we can replace this value. You can see that it has replaced to ONE. So we can replace a particular value by fetching through key. And the keys can be any kind of data type. It not be just integers. Usually it will be integers, but or strings.
so for like key, what should we follow? Like string or number?
Yeah,
What is that
depends
correct?
depends on the kind of data that you store. So we cannot say whether you have to follow integers or data. Depends
Okay.
on your choice, and if you understand the context, if you understand what kind of data we need to insert, obviously it is not difficult to understand what kind of
Mhm.
keys we need to mention. Yeah.
Okay.
Suppose if you want to remove, let's take two this value key value combination. So we need to fetch this. You can see that we got 2, and if you mention del, it's going to remove that particular value. You can see you're not going to see that particular combination anymore. But the problem with this method is, if you mention without any key, without any square brackets, it's going to remove the complete dictionary. So you need to be very careful. So as you can see, the name is not defined. So when we use del, be specific. Clearly, you need to provide the key. If you know, if for some reason, if you skip this part is going to completely remove the dictionary. So careful while using del. Okay. Suppose if you want to clear the dictionary without losing the dictionary, like for example, I have a dictionary here, and I want to remove all the keyword combination, but I want to still have an empty dictionary, then you can better use clear. So what clear does is, it's not throwing error because it still dictionary exists, but it's an empty. It is going to clear out all the keyword combinations. So that is the requirement. Go for clear. But del always you need to be careful while it's going to remove the complete dictionary. Another others who try to insert a keyword combination may get an error. But in this case of clear, it's still you have empty dictionary, so others can insert any keyword combinations. Right? Any questions on deletion and clear? Clear?
Yeah, delete means it will be delete that reference also, correct?
Right.
But in case of clear, it is like uh,
Emptying
did the
empty dictionary.
empty. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just an emptying thing. But still you're going to have this thing. But del without square brackets, I mean, without providing key, is going to be dangerous. If you provide key, that's fine. It's going to remove only that particular key function. But without that, it's going to remove the complete. Fine. Any other questions? We've already seen how to fetch value. Okay, so how to fetch values. And if you want to, let me remove this.
Actually, for remove, what key you use for shortcut?
What is that?
Means if we want to remove that all that lines, so what shortcut we are use key?
Oh, DD, escape DD.
Okay, DD skip
Escape
or
DD.
D.
Escape DD.
Okay, skip DD.
The DD is going to delete the scholastic escape DD. It has removed,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is you have a dictionary here. If I want to fetch number of key value combinations, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sorry, yeah, I have taken the duplicate one, so we can remove this one, or else we can remove this one. Yeah, we have only 4 key value combination here. If you use len, it's going to give the same result. It's going to count how many key value combination it has. Of course, you can use type to check the rating of it. So it's dict. Dict stands for dictionary, right? Suppose if you want to fetch only keys, right now you can fetch particular value. But what if you want to fetch all the keys? You can use keys method. You can see that we got all the keys, only keys. The same way, we can even fetch all the values also. You can see only values here. It's a list. That is the requirement. You can use it. You can do that. Interestingly, if you have two lists, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Pay attention to it. So it will be very handy to, right? So 3, 4, 5. I have two lists here. I can convert these two lists into dictionary. How do we do that? Zip it. But you haven't got the result, so you need to convert this into dictionary. Dict. You can see that we got list of dictionary. The first list, whatever you have provided here, that is going to be keys, and the second list is going to be values. Suppose if you flip this, it's going to change. You can see that the first list is my list too. That is what we have mentioned. So that these values will become keys for it. What is it? I have provided both list. Okay, now this will probably become keys, and my list one values will become values. Right? Any questions on this?
Actually, in dictionary, we can put the list in that dictionary as a like value.
Yes, we can do that. So let's take that we have a dictionary here, right? Suppose I want to have, can we do that? Yes, of course we can do that. And here is 3, right? My dict here. So my dict 3, corresponding key is what? 3. So I want to provide this one. 135. Check this
Okay.
type, whatever it has written, it is list.
Okay. Means any type of data we can like put as a value.
Yes, we can do that.
Effective that. Okay.
Yes. We'll see several examples later. Fine. So we know how to fetch all the keys and values, fetch all elements, all items from a dictionary. So it's an interesting one. For example, let me reset this back again. Right. So suppose if you want to fetch all let's take key items, we can do that. So the advantage of items is we can loop this. I mentioned key var in, we can loop this. For example, let's take. So here items is going to fetch key value combination, but it's in the form of a list of tuples. Actually, when we wrap this in round brackets, it's tuple. But the whole thing is a list, right? And we can, the advantage of using items is we can loop it. Loop it in the sense, for example, if I want to fetch only keys, I can fetch it. Want to fetch values, I can fetch that. Or let's take that I want to combine this into, I want to process it and combine and get the output. You can see that we got error because string is an integer, we cannot combine to a string. So now you can see a clear thing. So key val combination 2.50. We can do that. We can do such kind of operations using items. Items is going to give the list of tuples. Each tuple will have key val combination, right? We know how to fetch only keys and only values, but we can even fetch together. And it may not make much sense when, because you already have a dictionary, isn't it? But for looping and all, its items is going to be very handy. We cannot directly loop the dictionary. That's the problem. Okay. Any questions? Fetch all items from a dictionary. Check whether a particular key exists on. So if you are, suppose if you want to fetch a particular, if you want to know whether a particular key exists on, let's check 4 in my dict. It is false. What about 2? Yes, we have 2, right? We have 2. So we can use in to check whether a particular key exists or not. By default, it's going to be keys, even if you don't mention keys here. So that's the reason you got true here. What about values? Can we check it? We need to explicitly mention values in such case. Suppose, do we have any value called 22? No. What about 2? Yes, we have. So for keys, we not to mention explicitly as keys. By default, it's going to search for keys. Whereas for values, we need to explicitly mention that as values. If you want to use in operator. Okay. Any questions? The next one is there is an alternate. We know how to fetch a value, right? For example, I want to fetch 2. The corresponding key is 2, right? There is an alternative way of doing the same thing. Mind get 2. It's going to give the same result, but we mostly use this one. There are cases where we use only get. I will explain that shortly. Right, there are 2 ways to fetch the value. So here I have a dictionary, right? Suppose state population is the dictionary. If I apply max, okay, we got the result is Karnataka. The fact is, Karnataka has only 50,000 rupees. 50,000, let's take millions, maybe crores. Maharashtra sound like 50,000 crores. But the max value in state population is this one, isn't it? 7,50,000, 200,000. Yeah, I think this is the one. This is a bigger number. But what we got here is Karnataka, because when we apply max on the dictionary, as I told you before, it is by default keys. It's going to apply only on keys. So it's going to be like this. Even if you mention in this, going to Karnataka. It's not based on values. If you want to check max value based on values, this is the way that we can get. By default, it's going to be keys. Okay. I hope you got the point. But the immediate question is, we have capital letter here, capital letters here, but whereas we got Karnataka. On what basis we got this Karnataka as the max value, right? The way it internally is going to look at is going to be like this: A is less than B is less than C is less than so on and so forth up to G is less than A small. So small case letters are bigger than capital letters. So small z is the bigger than any other. I hope you got the point. So in this case, all the keys, if you look at it, all those are capital letter, starts with capital letter, right? So Karnataka starts with small letter. That is the reason you got this max value as small. So by default, it's going to be keys, right? So keys, and what is the max value if it is string? So it's going to be small letter compared to capital letter. That is the reason we got Karnataka here. Right? Any questions on this?
Yes.
All right. The next one is, the question is like, where do we use this get, right? So the usual way of fetching value is by providing it in square brackets, but there is an alternative I told you, but there is an exceptional case where we don't usually use get, this method. We usually use this one. But I told you that there are possibilities that we can only use get. For example, in this case, max, right? I'm going to take the same example. There is something called key. wherein if you want to fetch the max value, the context is this. So here we have a dictionary. If you want to fetch the max key, you want to provide keys, or else you can even provide keys, you're going to get that. But if you want to fetch max value, you need to provide values, right? What if I want to fetch the maximum value key? I'm going to say the max value is this, but I need the corresponding key. If that is the requirement, then you can do something like this. You can see Maharashtra. So what is the max value here? 7,50,000. And the corresponding key is Maharashtra. In this, what happened here is it is going to loop. It's going to fetch. It's going to provide each key 1, key 2, key 3. And what we get using get, the whole thing is going to be value, right? And this key basically what it does is going to sort it. I mean to say it's going to find out the max value based on this key, but the result is going to be the key, the corresponding key. Okay. Any questions on this?
Actually, I did not clear that get method where it is used.
Yeah,
So can you repeat?
get is actually a method. If you want, if a particular function or method allows to pass another function or method as a argument, right? Then we will use get. It's a good use case. Max, min, whatever. If this function or method allows to pass another function, we cannot pass a square bracket here. But in this case, we need to, it acts like a loop and want to fetch the value. So this is the only way to get the value.
Okay, yeah, got it.
All right. All right. That's it was already 9:53. Shall we stop here? Or you want me to continue?
Yeah, we can continue on tomorrow.
All
Yeah,
right.
sir.
So those actually we whatever the free sessions, 4 sessions along with demo session and workshop, almost 6 sessions, right? So these are all like completely free, not to enroll, but if you want to continue from tomorrow, you need to enroll to the course. So I request you to enroll if you want to continue, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for joining. If you have any
Yeah.
questions, hold on, or else you can log off. Sirisha?
Yes.
Yes, Sirisha, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for joining.